Hello, my wonderful students. Mr. Mack here. I don't know. I say that all the time. It's habit. I think you know who I am by now. But anyway, today I'm going to teach you about. We're going to talk about something called quotation marks, and I do this because sometimes people actually talk with what are called air quotes. Those two little hooky things at the end that kind of frame in dialogue when characters or someone is speaking in a text. That's what quotation marks are for, at least for our purposes today. It indicates when someone is saying something or someone is speaking, what a character is saying exactly saying, or certainly when someone's exact words. Because in a work of fiction like Harry Potter or Esperanza Rising, or in the Mouse and the Motorcycle, Ralph is speaking, Keith is speaking, the parents are speaking, and every time they speak, that's called dialogue. Then what they're saying, what's coming out of their mouths, is in quotation marks. Begins with a quotation mark, and when they're done speaking, it ends with a quotation mark. And then there's usually always a tag after it. A tag is something that lets the reader know who's actually speaking. So it might say, "Oh my goodness gracious," begin quotation, "Oh my goodness gracious, I hope I get out of this waste paper basket," comma, it's a good use for a comma, end quotation, Ralph said. Now we know there's only one character who was inside the waste paper basket. That was Ralph. So he's talking kind of to himself. Oh, I hope I get out of this waste paper basket. Quotation marks are used to show dialogue. Dialogue is a big word that just means characters speaking. And quotation marks, like you know, look just like that. These big hooky things. And if you think back to everything you've ever read, you may not have even noticed them before. And even if you did, you weren't sure exactly how they were used, but they're always to indicate when a character or someone is speaking, or again, when someone's words are being used, like in all the things we've read about Meg Lohman and Eve Nilsson and Bryson Warren. Every time they say something in a text, every time they spare another author is writing it. The person writing the book, The Most Beautiful Roof in the World, that's written by another author. That wasn't written by Meg Lohman. However, Meg Lohman, even her children and her brother are in it in these various rainforests. Every time the author wants us to know what Meg Lohman said, she will start it off by saying something like, Meg Lohman said, comma, begin quotation marks, "I love being in the canopy, even though it can be scary, period, end quotation mark." So even though Meg Lohman wasn't there when she was writing the book, that was a quote from Meg Lohman. Meg Lohman actually said that. Now, if the author didn't put those quotation marks in, if the author didn't give credit to Meg Lohman, then the author could get in a lot of trouble, because that's something called plagiarism. We're not going to even talk about that today. The only thing we have to worry about today is you knowing quotation marks are used to show when someone is talking. And I want to show you that right here. We're going to do this sheet together. You're going to have a bit of practice work to do with some quotations, but I want you to pay attention to this. And as we're doing it, you're not going to be doing it on the screen, but as you're kind of going through with it, and I ask you something, actually do it in your head. Talk it out loud. You'll see what I mean. Let's look at the example first. What we're going to do is simply find the dialogue, find what is said, figure out where or how are we supposed to use quotation marks. Okay, so here's an example. "What a great day," yelled Mr. Dobbins. Well, what in that sentence is actually being spoken, and what is the tag telling us who is doing the speaking? So, who is doing the speaking? Yes, of course, Mr. Dobbins. But he's not just speaking, he's yelling, which is why it ends with an exclamation point. Good writers always try to be as specific as they can. If somebody's yelling, use an exclamation point. It really drives it home. But it's still kind of missing. It's naked, so to speak. So a writer has to use quotation marks. So what is Mr. Dobbins yelling? He's yelling, "What a great day." This is how it should be correctly written. Begin quotation mark. "What a great day!" Exclamation point. end quotation mark, and then the tag, yelled Mr. Dobbins. Whenever you use quotes and you're quoting what a character is saying or you're quoting what somebody's saying, the end punctuation always goes inside the last quotation mark. It's always inside. And the tag is always, sometimes the tag is in the back, sometimes it's in the front. You'll see what I mean. So let's look at number one. Number one says, "Hi," Jim said to his friend. Well, what is being actually spoken and what's the tag? Exactly. Jim is the one speaking and he's saying it to his friend. Jim said to his friend. That's the tag. That's not where we want to put the quotation marks because you only use quotation marks on dialogue, on what is being spoken. Jim is saying hi. So we begin quotation marks. You see how there's a comma most of the time in dialogue. Most of the time, unless they're yelling or they're asking a question and it ends with a question mark, it'll always usually end with a comma, especially when the tag is at the end like this. So you put the quotation mark after the comma, the punctuation always goes inside. Now it's correctly written. Hi, Jim said to his friend. And you see how that comma gives us a little bit of a pause when we read hi, Jim said to his friend. Look at number two. What a wonderful day, shouted Mary. Well, you got another yelling person shouting. This ends with a exclamation point. So where am I going to put the quotation marks here? Yeah. This Mary's the one shouting. So that's the tag. You never put quotation marks around the tag. If it says the dog barked, if it said the mouse spoke, as in Ralph, if it said, or it would have said Ralph spoke, if it said Esperanza cried or something, that's not what's being said. The author's telling us who said it. So we're going to begin quotations on what Mary shouted. She shouted, "What a wonderful day." And of course, it ends with an exclamation point. So we put the end quotation after it. So everything a person says, including the end punctuation, is inside the quotes. Next one. Ooh, this one switched up a little bit. Sharon said, "Take your homework out." This one's a little different. It's backwards from the other two. The tag is in the front. Did you notice that? Yeah, the tag is in the front, and what Sharon is saying is in the back. So, where are we going to put the quotation marks here? Well, we're only going to use quotation marks on the exact words a person or a character says. In this case, Sharon is just saying, "Take your homework out." So we're going to start with the quotation mark here. And guys, whenever you use quotation marks, and it's at the beginning like this, the first words in a sentence always start with a capital. But whenever you use quotation marks, the first word inside it, always begin that with a capital letter 2. So even though this is not the end of the sentence because there's a comma here, always make the first word capitalized. Take your homework out. And of course, it ends with a period this time instead of a comma or anything because the dialogue's on the end. You see how we make sure the period was inside the quotation mark. Sharon said, "Take your homework out." There you go. Number 4, kind of the same way. What is the tag and what is Dad saying? My dad asked, "When do you want to go to the movies?" Where are we going to put the quotation marks for this? I heard somebody say, in front of when. Absolutely. And what are we going to do to the W here? Yes, very good. We're going to make that a capital because anytime any word, or anytime a sentence or a piece of dialogue or whatever is inside the first quotation mark, that first word, no matter where it is always capitalized. And where are we going to put our end quotation mark? We're going to put it at the end when Dad stops talking. And since he's asking a question, it ends with a question mark. We put the quotation mark outside. Absolutely. We make sure that the question mark is inside the quotations. My dad asked, comma, pause, When do you want to go to the movies? Number 5. Hello, said the stranger. Mm. Short, but sweet, right? Beginning quotations and the end quotations after the stranger stopped talking. Hello. Number 6. Have a good night, said my mother. Now it's getting easier, isn't it? So here's the tag. Mom's talking, said mother. So we're not going to put the quotations here because that's not just spoken. Mom, what does mom say? She says, have a good night. And remember, we're going to comma inside of the quotation, just like here. Mary said, what a beautiful day. So who's saying it? Who's speaking? Mary's speaking. She said, what a beautiful day. So where are we going to put the quotation mark? Right where she speaks. So again, since this is kind of in the middle and the tag is in the front this time, let's make the W capitalized. Remember, anytime any word is first word inside of a quotation mark is always capitalized, no matter where it is. What a beautiful day. And then it ends with the quotation mark, making sure that all punctuation's inside. Please take out the trash. Please take the trash out, said my father. Where are we going to put the quotation marks here? Never put quotation marks on the tag. The tag is always just telling us who said it, who yelled it, whatever. And forgive me, I just had lunch. I keep burping up my delicious bacon sandwich. Number 9 says, make sure you do your homework, said mother. I think this is now easy. I think you guys got it. Quotation mark at the end, keeping the comma inside. Finally, number 10, on Friday, the project is due, expressed my teacher. Well, who's talking? Me. And what am I telling you? That on Friday, the project is due. Absolutely. So you will put quotation marks around what I said, including the comma there. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now, there's a short little video, a YouTube video. It's really, really good. It's only 2 minutes. Might want to watch that too, just to kind of, and then go ahead and try to tackle the paper, the doc that's on here, your assignment. It looks very much like this. It's just got different sentences. You have to add the quotation marks. And again, the quotations are on your keyboard. If you look on your keyboard, you know where the letters are. You got three rows of letters. In the middle row of letters, all the way to the end, right next to the enter button, you'll see quotes at the top and an apostrophe at the bottom. So whenever you add a quotation mark, hit shift and then quote. Click next to where you want to put a quotation mark. You know, if I wanted to put a quotation mark here, I would click next to it. I don't want to put it there, but if I did, I'd hit shift and then hit the quotation button. And you got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I have no doubt you got this. Takes practice. That's all this takes to exactly remember. If you remember to only put in what people are saying inside the quotations, you'll be in good shape. Okay. Bye-bye.